All right, so for this one, we are going to need two colors. Our main body color that I have chosen here, I am using the Juicy Couture Luxe Velour, and this color is called Notre Dame. This is a velvet 5 bulky weight yarn. You could easily substitute this with any velvet type yarn. I would not go so thick on the plushiness that it's like an actual plush yarn. You will definitely get a different shape, so please keep that in mind. And then for our little bunny tail, I am going to use the same brand, Juicy Couture. This color is called Angel. And then you will also need some stuffing, a pair of scissors, a stitch marker, a tapestry needle, and for this one, because of the way that the yarn works up, I am using a size F hook or a 3.75 millimeter hook. If you change that, you will probably get a slightly different look with your bunny. So if you decide to change that, keep that in mind. Okay, that really yarn barfed on me, you guys. All right, so to get started, we are going to do the ears first, and we need to make 2 of them. So the first ear will be made identically to the second one, so I'll only show you the one, and then I'll show you where I continue on with the next one. So you can watch this back if you need to watch it for the second ear. So we're just going to start with a magic loop, our magic ring, and we are going to single crochet 6 stitches. And I am going to go ahead and mark my first single crochet so that I don't have to guess later. A lot of times with this yarn, you just kind of feel like you lose your stitches on the first round for some reason. So it's just a nice little trick to make things easier. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there's 6. Okay, I'm going to pull that closed. All right. And now we're just going to continue doing 6 single crochet around for the next 4 rounds. So you should have a total of 5 where you've just done 6 single crochet all the way around. So I'm going to go ahead and work all the way down this ear. I'll work a few stitches with you, but then I will meet you back up when I get done with the second ear. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I've got my 2 ears here. I just finished the 5 rounds for each one. I'm going to do a couple of things really quick before I continue. I am going to stuff the tails that were in the center of the magic rings into the center of the ears. You can see I've already done that on mine. The other thing that I want to do is that I want to finish off the first ear with an invisible finish, and I'll show you how I do that. I'm going to go ahead and thread my yarn on my needle. Now, on my actual ear, I am going to skip what would be the next stitch, and I'm going to go from outside in to the second stitch from my finishing stitch. Okay, and I'm going to pull it to be about the same tension. I'm sorry, you guys. My cats are doing their zoomies right now. I apologize if you can hear that. So I'm going to pull that to almost look about the same tension as the stitch below it. They should look identical almost. And then I'm going to insert my needle back into the same finishing stitch that we just started from to make it literally replace the stitch below it. Now I'm going to go one step further. I'm going to kind of open up my hole here where the ear is, and I'm going to go to this stitch that we skipped and just grab the inner loop with my needle. It's just kind of to help secure everything a little bit better and to make sure that there's not as noticeable of a gap in between our false finish stitch or the invisible finish stitch and the stitch before it. So once I get that done, I'll then tuck that strand just right down into the center of the ear, just to get it out of the way. And it's easier than like cutting it off or anything, and it kind of acts like stuffing. Now that I've got that all tucked away, I've got it nice and clean. It looks almost even on the bottom. So now we're gonna go back here to our first one, and we're gonna do 3 single crochets to get halfway around this ear. And don't forget to put your stitch markers back, guys. Stitch markers count. They help us count. They're a lifesaver. So there's 1, 2, 3 single crochet on the first ear to get us halfway. So I am going to chain 1, and then I'm going to pick up our other ear, and any stitch around, I am just going to insert my hook and do a single crochet right into that stitch. And then I'm going to do 5 more single crochets to get around for a total of 6 on this ear. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. And then I am going to do 1 single crochet into the chain from the other side that we did in between the ears. So there's that. Now I should have 3 stitches remaining to get me back around to my stitch marker. 1, 2, 3. Yep, perfect. And that completes round 6. Okay, so for round 7, we're gonna start with an increase right in our first stitch. So I'll do the first single crochet and then my second single crochet, but I wanna make sure that I remember to put my stitch marker back in the first one so that I'm not miscounting. And then I'm gonna do 2 more single crochet. And I will tell you or suggest to you, just be careful here. You can a lot of times lose the first stitch from the second ear. It's something about the way that the chain kind of expands when you did the single crochet on the other side of it. So just make sure that you're counting here. So I'm actually going to increase in the chain stitch that is in between the ears. Okay. And then I'm going to do 2 single crochet into the stitches on the other ear. 1, 2. Now I'm going to increase. Now I'm going to do 3 single crochet around the front side of the ears. 1, 2, 3. Now that should give me, I should be back at my single crochet on the opposite side of where I chained, and I'm going to do an increase there. And then 3 more single crochet to bring me back to my stitch marker. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now for round 8, we are going to do 2 single crochets and an increase 6 times. So there's 1, 2, increase. I'll show you that one more time and then I'll just meet you back up. 1, 2, increase. Okay, we're gonna do that 4 more times. And last one, we're gonna increase. All right, that is it for round 8. Now, rounds 9, 10, and 11, we are just gonna do 1 single crochet stitch in every stitch around. There should be 24. So we're gonna do that for the next 3 rounds. I'm gonna go ahead and work that up, and then I will meet you back up for round 12. Okay, I have my 3 rounds of 24 single crochet done, and we stopped at round 11. So round 12, we're gonna start decreasing to form the base of the head. So we're gonna do 2 single crochet and a decrease. All the way around, we'll do that 6 times. We should end up with 18 stitches at the end of this round. So I will work that up and meet you back up for round 13. All right, so for round 13, we are going to do 1 single crochet and a decrease. We'll do that 6 times, and then when we're done with that round, we're going to stuff the ears and the head before we continue. All right, we're at the end of that round. I'm gonna go ahead and stuff my ears first, making sure that I get enough stuffing down there to actually like just help them stay standing. I know that these ears are kind of small, so you don't want to like shove them so packed full that you have like openings in your yarn fabric, but definitely just so that they hold their shape and aren't all loosey-goosey and floppy when you're done. Okay, here we have our stuffed bunny's head. And we can adjust that as we go a little bit further along. We can stuff it a little bit more later if you feel like you need to. I don't know, I always feel like I overstuff them at the head, so I may end up pulling a little bit out, but I just wanted it to hold shape and you know, work easily for me as I'm continuing. So now that we are done with the ears and head, now we're gonna finish with the body. So we're gonna go a little bit wider to get there this time. So we're gonna be doing some increases. So we're gonna do just the opposite of the last row. We're gonna do 1 single crochet and then an increase, and we're gonna repeat that 6 times for the whole round, and I'll meet you back up for round 15. All right, so that is the end of round 14. Round 15, we are increasing again, and we're going to do 2 single crochets and an increase 6 times around, and I will meet you back up. All right, so for round 16, we are increasing again. We're gonna do 3 single crochet and then an increase 6 times. So I will meet you back around for the next one. All right, so for round 17, 18, 19, 20, and 21. So for 5 rounds, we are just gonna do 30 crochet, single crochet all the way around until we get to the end of that 5th row. I'm going to do that off camera, so I will meet you back up when I get to the start of round 22. Okay, so I have my 5 rounds of 30 stitches done. Now it's time to start closing up our bunny. All right, so for round 22, I'm going to do just the opposite of what we did down here. We're going to start with 3 single crochets and a decrease. And I will get this done and meet you back up for the next round. All right, and for round 23, we're gonna do 2 single crochet and a decrease. We'll do that 6 times and I'll meet you back up for the next round. All right, and for round 24, we're gonna do 1 single crochet and a decrease 6 times, and then I'll meet you back up for the final round. All right, and here we are with the last round. We're gonna stuff the body of our bunny here before we actually close it, making sure that we've balanced out the thickness in between the head and the body. All right, so we are all stuffed and I am going to work my last round, which is going to be 6 decreases to close our hole some more. And I will meet you back up so we can finish off by weaving our tail around to close, and then we will work up our bunny tail. All right, so we are done with round 25, the last round of our bunny. So we're gonna cut off and then sew our hole closed. And I like to go through the top loops of all the stitches all the way around, gently pulling that tight to get that hole to close up. All right. We'll just weave in our ends and finish this off. All right, there is our little bunny. Now the tail works up super quick. I am gonna switch to the color Angel so that it actually looks like a fluffy white bunny tail. Although this is kind of an off-white, I think it's a very lovely color. We're still using the same hook for this. I don't really use a stitch marker, but I do one thing that is kind of special. I do a double-stranded or a double-looped magic ring. So what that means is instead of going around my finger once and creating the magic ring, I'm gonna actually go twice. And I'm gonna do the same thing that I would for any other magic ring, except that I'm gonna go under both of the first two lines here, and I'm gonna grab the third and pull it through to start my ring with. Same thing, we're just gonna slip stitch to close. Now I'm only going to work 5 single crochet around this magic ring. 3, 4, 5. All right, now to close it, because remember we've got the 2 strands, I'm gonna gently pull the first one and see which one goes first. So this tells me that this is the one closest to the tail. So I'm actually gonna use this one and grab it from, and I'm gonna pull from the top side of my magic ring so that it actually ends up closing the other strand really tight around there. And then once I've got that completely closed and as tight as I can get it and want it, then I'm gonna grab the remaining tail and pull it tight to seal off that other loop. Now the beauty of doing that, and I am just gonna go ahead and cut this tail off right here. The beauty of doing that is that then your tail just completely disappears. You don't have to deal with it anymore. It's like the equivalent of weaving in your ends without actually having to use your sewing needle. Now I am gonna leave about, I don't know, somewhere between 6 and 9 inches on this so that I can sew on the tail. So I'm just gonna pull this through. I'm gonna do an invisible finish to help it make it look like a circle, and then I'm going to use the tail of it to sew it right onto the bottom back of our bunny. So the invisible finish is just like what we did on the ear. I'm gonna go from the outside in through the stitch that I want to connect, and then when I'm ready to come back over here, I'm going to go through the center top from the outside in, or from the outside to the back of the stitch that we finished from, and then I'm all ready to sew this on. So for my method of sewing to make this look the best, because you don't want it to look all stretched, what I'm going to do, since I've already come out the bottom side, I am going to place this exactly where I want it, make sure that it's centered. Usually I just kind of look down from the ears. There it goes. And then I am going to go right underneath of there, pick up any stitches that I want, and then I'm going to go back up through the same stitch that I came down from, that I finished off in when I was closing up my invisible finish. So, and what that does is now it's not like pulling the top edges of the tail out and spreading it. It's going to keep it nice and fluffy, so to speak. So for the next one, I'm going to go from the top down, just through the bunny tail, and then I'm going to find a stitch to pick up of the gold that was right underneath of it, and then I'm going to go back up through the same stitch I just went down in. And then I'm going to repeat that process all the way around until I've gotten back to where I started. right. And that's going to be the last one. I am going to go ahead and just attach it to a stitch, one that's kind of hidden just under the tail. And then I am going to poke this down through the bottom so that it has somewhere to have a little bit of string in between it and the actual finished stitch. Maybe go through a few times so it's kind of spread out among the stuffing. And then I will just disconnect and hide whatever remaining is there. Just poke that right back inside. Maybe come in from the side, go like that. Okay, that is it, you guys. We have our little Easter bunny peep. I hope that you've enjoyed this. If you wouldn't mind giving me a thumbs up, and if you're interested for more, go ahead and click that subscribe button. Thanks so much, guys, and I will see you next time.